Today I'm back with another pro tip video, a series that we haven't had on the channel in a while. To do this one, we're in Divine Justice with AC3 and we're talking about DragBat at Town Hall 11. So I came over here to Divine Justice, and during the CWL I noticed that AC3 was 3-starring every base from, or not every base, but every attack that he did in the war. He was 3-starring throughout the CWL wars. I have a video coming on that very soon, but I decided that we had to have him on the channel for a pro tip video to teach all of us, myself included, how to be so successful with DragBat. AC3, what's going on, man? How you doing?
What's going on, Echo? How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm stoked to have you on the channel. Really get these pro tips so you can make us better clashers at Town Hall 11 with the strategy that has been so dominant. Any things that you want to mention before we start looking at the first base? You know, why do you think this strategy is doing so well and crushing Town Hall 11s?
I mean, most people usually have their Infernos on single set, and that kind of is just really the best way to 3-star Town Hall 11. So, I mean, basically you just have to look for the Infernos and the Wizard Towers, and if you find what you need to find, you'll be golden.
All right, so my thought is, being a Legends League attacker, a lot of times in Legends League, people are going to have those multi-target Infernos as well, and that happens in War too. So can this still work against multi-target Inferno bases?
Yeah, it's kind of when the Ice Golem comes into play, depending on where it is exactly.
All right, well, why don't we actually go on in and take a look at a war attack. You could break down the base, break down the army, and tell everyone what you were thinking during the attack.
All right.
So AC3 is here on his first attack from the war. He's going to talk right now about the army composition as well as the base that he's attacking. Now, you may be looking at this base and saying, the wall is low. How does this even matter? Well, it's an air attack, guys, so wall does not matter whatsoever in this attack. So AC3, first of all, what is so special about the composition that you're using for these attacks?
I mean, with this base specifically, DragBat really, it seems to work really well with this. So the 10 drags will be from about like 7 o'clock, and then we'll have the King Queen separate for funnel, and then some loons coming in behind with the Stone Slammer from about 4 o'clock coming in from that Wiz Tower, getting that out. And then that other Wiz Tower at about 3 o'clock-ish, 3. We'll have an Ice Golem on there once I deploy the bats, so the Wiz Tower takes the Ice Golem instead of the bats. All
right, so if you guys are wondering why an Ice Golem is in this attack, it's obviously to do that tanking. So the Wizard Tower will target the Ice Golem, and then the bats can go on in and snipe out that Wizard Tower. So are you ready to hit play on this attack?
I am.
All right, so the attack's starting. Let us know what you're thinking right now. What are you doing?
So we got the Queen coming in and the King coming in to funnel. Drags coming in with Air Warden. Then for the Loon deployment, it doesn't really matter exactly where you go. I prefer to go about 2-2-2 across the whole spread.
Yep.
And then I kind of wait on the Stone Slammer a little bit. I see that they hit that Tornado Trap, so I press Rage down, put the Stone Slammer on that right side, get that Wiz Tower troop. And then we have the Ice Golem coming in with that CC, and then once you place the Ice Golem, you can Rage the bats, and then the Wiz Tower won't do anything. And then you have basically a freeze or 2 left over. I chose to do it like Clan Castle just because of that E-Dragon there, because I know not many other splash damage is left except that Wiz Tower on the other side, but I don't really worry about that because all the troops I have left, especially because I have about like 8 dragons on the right side and a decent amount of loons. So basically, after this, it's just clean up because the Loon's going to take out that Eagle Artillery. And then, unfortunately, the drags all went to the right side. Probably could have done a better job of spreading those out. But eventually, once you get through, they'll take out all of the rest of that E-Drag, and then that Inferno. It's actually a lot closer than it should have been. The attack definitely could have been better, but just with this base, it's fairly easy, just depending on where your drags go.
Yeah, and with the single target Inferno, you'll lose a dragon or two, but at that point, there's enough dragons left to be able to hop on in there. Now, I noticed that with your bats, you use the Rage spell on the bats. Now, I'm going to let you know, I've been using this strategy as a new Town Hall 13 in Legends League, and wow, they just got through that Inferno quick. I guess it had a little bit of beating on it. I never use the Rage spell on the bats. I usually use the Rage spell twice in the beginning of the attack, trying to get the balloons to get some value. Am I doing it wrong? Do I need that rage spell on the bats?
It really kind of depends on. I'm more of a. I play my attack to a certain extent, but then I kind of just play it by ear.
Okay.
So if, say, the CC comes out with really the dragons are just getting hit really hard, because the dragons are very important and they need to tank for a lot of defenses.
Right.
But I mean, you can double rage. It kind of just depends. It's not a huge deal.
Mm-hmm.
I prefer the rage on the bats, but in another attack in this war, I think maybe in my Town Hall 13, I used the 2 rages at the beginning.
Okay, well, I guess it is dependent. I'm going to try the rage in the bats, though, because sometimes I don't get the value that I want out of them, so I guess I got to mess around with it.
The bats, I mean, yeah, it's really just trial and error. You just kind of have to get used to it. I mean, this attack I learned actually not too long ago, a couple months ago, from a fellow clanmate, and then I just kind of messed around with it, and then you just kind of have to feel comfortable with it.
Yeah, well, you clearly are, because you 3-star every base that you attack with it. So let's actually go take a look at your second attack from this war as the Town Hall 11. So here's your second attack, and I want to put this out there. Not everyone is going to find max level bases in war. A lot of times you're going to be up against bases like this that have not maxed out the entire base. So I think it's important to bring you guys this type of an example as well. But I was just talking to AC3, and after this attack, we are going to bring you guys a new Town Hall 13 version of this attack as well. So it's like a little bit of a bonus. You're going to get to see this attack being done with higher level everything. So that's kind of cool. So AC3, I see there's no Ice Golem in this composition. What's going on with the comp, and what about the base?
So, I mean, it's pretty low level considering this account that I use is a max Town Hall 11. I don't need an Ice Golem because I don't see a Wizard Tower that I can definitely reach, and I don't really necessarily need it because the base is kind of a low level for my Town Hall 11. I took a couple more loons. I took 3 more loons instead of that Ice Golem. It's just really preference. Basically, I mean, it doesn't. Obviously, this base, both single target Infernos. And then we're not really too worried about anything except maybe a Wiz Tower here and there. But, I mean, you can almost attack from any way you really want. Maybe Air Sweeper preference. But other than that, it's pretty low and should be over pretty quick.
Well, it looks like it's going to be. Why don't we hit play and just watch it go down? All right, man, why don't you let us know what's going on? I mean, yes, you're going to overpower the base because your attack is stronger. I notice that you always, every single time, you put your king on one side, your queen on the other to narrow out the base of the drags and balloons go down the center.
I mean, for me, I prefer to put my king on the side that has more defenses. I mean, in this base, I didn't really care too much about it. With like a max Town Hall 11 per se, I want to put my king on the more defense side. So that way, my king's the tankier hero, so I use my king on that side, and then my queen just on the other side to funnel in. Basically, for this base, you know, I rage the bats, again, preference. The Stone Slammer's doing work. The Wiz Towers are all gone. I'm not really worried. I just use the freeze on the Inferno because I got nothing else to freeze. The base is over pretty quick. I then drop my Stone Slammer because I don't need it anymore. And then kind of just going to clean up the rest of the base there.
It's basically a complete domination of the base, correct?
Yep.
That's what went down. Cool. Well, it's good that we gave everyone an example of what it looks like. Because, you know, like most people playing this game, most people watching this video aren't seeing max level bases. You're completely right. So this is a great example as to what the attack can look like if they have a pretty strong account like you. So now I'm here with AC3 looking at his new Town Hall 13 account and the attack that he did in this war. Actually, he did 2 and got 2 triples as well. But we're going to show this one just as some extra so you guys can see what DragBat looks like at new Town Hall 13. Talk to me a little bit, AC3, about the composition, how it differs right here, as well as the base that you're attacking, how you went at it.
Well, obviously, with new Town Hall 13s, the new multi-Inferno in the Town Hall, so you have to be a bit wary of that. I mean, obviously, in Town Hall 11, there's a lot less things to worry about. 13 has another Inferno, obviously, and then the Town Hall, so you're kind of worried about a bunch of things along with the Wiz Towers.
Yeah, and that could kind of go hand in hand with Town Hall 12 as well, right? Because really, that's the only difference is the Giga Inferno, which at Town Hall 12 would be the Giga Tesla. So kind of the same thing at this point.
Yes.
All right, so what about this base are you looking at? Like, how do you attack it?
So basically, I'm looking at the Wiz Tower placement. Obviously, there's 2 multis and 1 single, which I like. I like to see at least 1 single because that just means you can really get through the base a lot easier. And I mean, you can obviously do it with 3 multis. It's just a little more work.
Right.
For that Wiz Tower by that Archer Tower, I'm about the south side with Multi Inferno. So you see the South Wiz Tower by that Multi Inferno. You can put the Ice Golem there on that Archer Tower closest to that Bomb Tower. Basically, the Wiz Tower can reach it. You can just click on it when you scout. And then once you see that, you know that that Wiz Tower is not going to affect you. And then since there's no other Wiz Tower by that Multi, that means you can freeze that, get that rid of out, get the Multi out, and then continue to basically use your bats.
All right, so that's a great tip as well. Obviously, when you're using bats, you have to look out for multi-target Infernos and for Wizard Towers. Those are probably the two worst things to deal with. So clicking on them, I mean, most people know this, but maybe some people don't. If you click on it in scout mode, you could see the range of all the defenses. So you could see where you could place your Ice Golem and where the defenses are going to be able to reach for your bat placement. So a tip for someone that's maybe a new player that didn't understand that kind of thing. But I think we're ready to go and see you smash this base. What do you think?
Sounds good to me.
All right, so let us know what you're thinking, what you're doing, and why you're doing it, man.
Okay, so basically, King, Queen, drags coming in. It should be loons, and then the Warden should be coming in. Again, with the loon placement, doesn't really matter as long as you kind of put them even. I mean, I've seen people stack them, but I prefer to go 2 by 2 by 2, and then just kind of by the time it ends. I use that Rage on that bottom side, get rid of that Wiz Tower because I want to do that. Stone Slammer from about 9 to 12. I want to get that because that's a very heavy part of the base with the Wiz Tower, the Queen, a couple Teslas, especially that single Inferno. And here comes that Ice Golem taking the tank. I mean, luckily for me, it didn't really necessarily need it because the drags came over quick enough.
Yep, I noticed that.
And then the single Inferno, there's nothing really that can affect me, so I just kind of placed the freeze on that multi-giga Inferno.
Yep.
So not too worried about that. King's basically smashing those Teslas. The bats kind of overpowered.
So you're coming in from the opposite side of the base, the Slammer on one side, the bats on the other. Is that always how you do it?
Normally, I like to go. Yeah, that is usually the strategy for me, anyways. I've seen kind of a bunch of different ways. At the end, it actually gets pretty close with all those traps, which can be kind of tricky at times because you know the town hall's there, so you know that the majority of traps will be there.
Right.
That's usually how most people design their bases, you know. And then, but yeah, for the Stone Slammer, I like to put it on the side that has a lot of tank defenses because that Stone Slammer can really get a lot of value. And those bats, I mean, they're pretty vulnerable when they come to splash. So if you get one side by the bats, one side by the Slammer, and you come in from basically one side with the drags, there's only one remaining side, and basically by then they should all meet up. And if it all goes well, then they all should meet up, and you should be good.
See, and that's where I've been going wrong. I've been going the Slammer, and I use the Slammer to tank for the bats, but they're all coming in the same side of the base. That's my excuse, man, for all the fails that I've been having. I'm sticking with that excuse, and that's really what we're doing.
I mean, I've also seen Stone Slammer come from behind the drags. I mean, I just prefer to get a lot of those tanky defenses because, I mean, the attack can be a lot quicker if you can get all 3 sides basically destroyed within. I mean, coming from one side can be overpowered depending on the base, but a lot of these tricky Town Hall 12 and 13 bases are kind of spread out, so you kind of want to divvy out your troops a little better. Yeah,
I agree. I love the idea of how you come in from the side with the Stone Slammer. I've been doing that. I just got to switch my bats to the opposite side, and I'll be pulling in 3s for days. Another question before we head out for the day, and I want to talk about the scatter shot. Even though this is a Town Hall 11 video, how is the scatter shot going to affect those bats?
I mean, you're just going to have to work around it. It's kind of just another defensive. It's kind of a hiccup. I mean, not right now. There's not that many people that have it in these wars yet because obviously the upgrade time's pretty long. But in a couple weeks, you should just be able to. You could always bring another freeze and go 1 less bat spell. I mean, it really just depends on the basic game. Because not many people, I've never really seen where most people are putting the scatter shot in war yet. So I guess we're just going to have to wait and see because some people will put it by their Town Hall, some people will put it by an Inferno. You're just going to have to know where to place it. I've seen it by a lot of Inferno towers, so you could freeze both at the same time. So you could probably get a lot of value from that, just depending on the base design.
I think that means we're going to have a DragBat Part 2 when the bases are all maxed at Town Hall 13. You can come back on the channel and we can talk about it then when everyone has a max base, which will be in probably a few months.
Yeah.
Well, listen, man, I really appreciate you coming through the channel. Any last things you want to say to everyone watching right now before we go?
You just got to keep practicing. I mean, and it's not really the hardest attack ever. I feel like people make it to be a lot harder than it actually is. Once you see a lot of bases, you won't even have to really scout much. You'll just have to, you know, play it by ear and go with the flow.
Like a boss, man. Thank you so much for coming on the channel. Much love to Divine Justice and to the entire family of clans. It's always a pleasure to be representing and bringing you guys strategies like this. So thanks for coming on the channel, man. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
No problem, man. And I'm out of here for today, guys. I never asked you to subscribe to the channel, so if you're here at this point in time, you probably have already subscribed. But if you haven't, why don't you go ahead and do that? Ring the bell as well. And before you leave for the day, check out this video because it is a good one for sure. I'm out of here, guys, and I'll see all you back here later on today with another video. Until then, be good.